So I come bearing a bit of privacy news, almost a bit of good news. I mean, it's not great, nothing's really transpired yet. But a couple weeks ago on the show, I talked about ClearView AI, which, just as a reminder, is a company that farms data from online, specifically biometrics, and their whole thing is they sell these catalogs of biometric data, facial data, most specifically, to law enforcement to help them with identifying criminals and stuff. Now, in the US, this is mostly okay because we have no privacy laws and our government hates us. But in other countries where their politicians don't suck as much ass, like Europe, um, they actually do care slightly about their people. And in fact, ClearView AI has been charged in the UK for broad data rights violations. Now, this is great news. It comes with a bit of a caveat, though. It's not so great news, but let's start with the good news, right? So, ClearView has been charged with stealing the data of untold number of Britons and giving it to law enforcement without their consent. So, just so you have a sense, in Europe, there's this law called the General Data Protection Regulation. And essentially, what it does is it allows you as an individual or a data subject, as they'd call it, to have more control over who can see, use, and process your data. Okay, and this is any kind of data, any data that's related to you. And there are special categories of data like your sex, your gender, your sexual orientation, your trade union affiliation, your religion, your birthday, your national health number or equivalent, right? So there's this great rule that allows you to do things. And by the way, if your data is going to be sold or given to other people, you need to be told ahead of time that your data is going to be sold to people. So, for example, if I wanted to take your data and I wanted to sell it to someone for profit for me, I would have to say to you, hey, I would like your name, your full name, your phone number, your address, and your email address, and I'm going to put you on a list so that people can contact you to sell you products, right? And you could say, yes, I would like products to be sold to me by you and whoever you work with, right? But in order for me to actually put your name and information on this list that I'm compiling, I actually have to ask you first if you want to be on a list at all. Okay, so very important. And this involves any type of thing. It doesn't have to be just marketing. It can be it can be any type of list. So what ClearView is accused of doing is essentially taking all the data from online that's publicly available and condensing it and giving it to law enforcement without asking any of the people whose faces appear in the document or whatever that law enforcement is getting without their permission, which is great that they are being charged for it, because one of the things that was really frightening about ClearView, as I noted in my last segment on ClearView, is that essentially just having a picture of you on Facebook, by the way, not even one that you took, right? As long as it's of you and there's enough of your face there that you could be identified from the picture, you can have your face given to law enforcement even if you never did anything wrong. Okay? And this is very scary. But luckily, there are rules against this in Europe, as I said. And because ClearView didn't ask all these people, hey, can we give your photo to police? And, people didn't have the opportunity to be like, no, and go fuck yourself, by the way. There was not an opportunity for them to get what is consent, which is one of the grounds for processing data, one of the legal ways you can process data in Europe. And because of that, they broke the law. So the UK is planning on charging them and fining them. And by the way, one more good thing before I go to my downer, is that ClearView admits that it did wrong. They said, yep, no, the things that you've accused us of, we did them. So there probably isn't going to be a trial and they're going to appeal it. And my guess is they're going to try and argue that they weren't selling the data. I don't really know how they're going to appeal it, but it'll be interesting to see what happens. So all that sounds really good. And when I first read it, as someone who does privacy for my regular life job, I thought, this is great. And then I read how much the fine was, and I was like, oh, Jesus, people, come on. So the fine is 17 million pounds. And Dude, that's like nothing. Honestly, they might just pay the fine and do it again. So one of the things that's really frustrating to me about this is that the GDPR actually allows you to fine a company up to 2% of its global revenue, which is still might be really tiny, but like if suddenly 2% of your entire revenue, not profits, revenue for the past year gets taken out from under you, you're going to feel it, dog. You are going to feel it. So I was really hoping that when I saw that we would get a fine that was closer to like, I don't know, bigger. I mean, maybe even £100 million. I just something that will actually make them feel. And who knows? Maybe they're a tiny company, and 17% is 17 million pounds is 2% of their global revenue. But I doubt it, especially because they're currently being sued as well, as I think I mentioned on my last segment about ClearView. So honestly, it's that part is very disappointing. It's they say they're going to appeal it. Something tells me they're just going to pay the fine and keep doing the thing they're going to do. But now there is public outrage about it too, in the UK, just like there is public outrage about it in the US. So I'm hoping that we can get to a place where either they get fined more or they actually curb this behavior. But it's good to see people's privacy rights are actually being enforced, even if just a tiny bit. Um, and that the quote unquote good people over at Clearview are they're admitting they did wrong, and I mean they haven't said they're going to change anything. They said they'll just appeal it, but they did admit they did the thing they're being accused of. So I don't know. You'll win some, you'll lose some. But I really hope they get fined more. I hope they get fined repeatedly. I hope they get fined for more money until they stop doing this, because a company scraping all of your facial data off of the internet and giving it to the cops for no goddamn reason is scary as shit. You get arrested for literally nothing, right? And by the way, they don't have to get rid of that data in theory, right? They can hold on to that data potentially forever, even in Europe. So you could have your face. By the way, I'm a dual citizen, right? I'm a citizen of the UK and the US. I could have my face in a UK police office just because I have cousins, right? That I'm in pictures with cousins, right? If God forbid one of my cousins ever gets in trouble or something, or one of their friends, who knows how many relations it has to be away. But if someone gets in trouble and I'm in a picture with them, or a picture with someone else who's with them, right? Who knows? I could end up in a database. You could end up in a database of police, and you could be there forever. I mean, it's very scary, and it's you know your privacy is just being ripped away from you. So I hope that there is movement to make Clearview really pay. And honestly, I wouldn't be too upset if they went out of business, if they were fined out of existence. I think the quote unquote service they provide is dangerous to regular people, and I don't think it should exist. I think they should be gone. So that's that. They have been fined. They have been charged. They've been charged. The fine is on the table. We'll see what happens, but yeah, we'll see. Hopefully, a good story comes out of it. If there are updates, I will keep you all posted.
Thanks for watching this video, guys. If you liked it, throw a like on it, share with your friends, and subscribe for more of our content. You can also find all of our videos and clips on youtube.com. Just search Let Them Eat Bread and you'll find all of our content. Alright guys, see you next time. Bye for now.